All right. So Google's been shitting the bed lately, haven't they? Whether it's the fact that their search engine is borderline unusable at times, or the fact that they're now suggesting that you shouldn't even go to websites, you should just look at the AI search summary that it writes up for you to comical and absurd ends. And I'm sure we've all seen some of these examples, right? I'm going to put some of them up there on the screen now. However, what I really want to talk about is what this actually portends for Google and the wider AI space, because I think that's the more interesting yarn here. And in terms of what it says for the wider AI space, I would be cautious about being anything other than bullish about what's going to happen with AI in the next year or two. And I'll tell you why later. But for now, maybe we can take a look at how Google arrived at this problem. What was the thought process, and how could this have gone so wrong? The truth is, we don't actually know what the algorithm at play is, but it seems to be very, very simple. It seems that in the background it's just running a search, it is taking the top X number of search results, and it is then feeding that into the LLM, Gemini, to write up a quick summary, and then it is packaging that summary in a very bite-sized manner, which is easy for you to read. And that is outrageously simple. And that's absurd because even older, very, very basic models of these LLMs that Google have been cooking up is able and capable of taking a look at that information and going, no, that's potentially harmful, or it's just factually untrue. And so a lot of people have been using this whole Google shitting the bed moment to be like, well, obviously this is something that cannot be solved with LLMs. It's baked into it. There's no way to remove these hallucinations fundamentally. And the reasoning that they're using isn't wrong. It's quite true. LLMs are structured to give you language output. They're not structured to necessarily be excellent at reading. But there's really no reason why an advanced artificial intelligence wouldn't be able to be capable of reasoning. You just have to silo that off into another part of the workflow. And to be fair, I think that's what a lot of these more advanced products are aiming to offer. They're aiming to offer you vision, they're aiming to offer you the LLM, capable of the text output and whatnot. And it's not all one thing. They're starting to think more in terms of how the brain is structured, where certain brain regions have certain functions. And that's not to say that it's particularly nuanced and advanced yet, but we also shouldn't look at this and go, well, obviously it's an impossibility. There's too many unknowns here. And so this unforced error that Google have made with their search engine and AI search results strikes me more as like an incompetent team rather than a systemic issue at Google itself, because Google is still producing some really, really innovative stuff coming out of Google DeepMind. And something tells me that this wasn't Google DeepMind. Something tells me that this was a team involved within the Google search department. And I don't know the structure of Google's company that well, barely at all. That's just my gut feeling on the matter. And so I think we have to be careful about generalizing the problems that this has shown to the wider AI landscape. I just don't think there's enough data there for us to make any kind of informed decision. And I know I spoke to a person on the train in Austria a month or two back, and he was a computer engineer, and he said something really interesting. He said, look, the AI hype cycle is coming to an end, and the more I thought about it, the more I saw his point. The AI hype cycle is in fact coming to the end. But his conclusion was that this is all a storm in a teacup. And I'm not so sure that it is, even if I agree with his premise. And if we accept that the AI hype cycle is going to be cooling off a little bit, that shouldn't change how those of us who are concerned about AI safety approach this subject, because we haven't won anything. Yeah, it's nice when people see absurdity in artificial intelligence. I don't think that absurdity is going away anytime soon, but it also can potentially create this negative externality, this problem as a side effect, which is that people see that absurdity and they go, oh, there's nothing to worry about. But there is. We still don't know what happened last year with OpenAI and the board, including Ilya Sutskever, forcing Sam Altman out. And that chaotic weekend where he was no longer CEO of OpenAI. We don't know what happened there, but we do know that around the same time there was a bit of a breakthrough at OpenAI. Enough to make the board concerned about the safety of their product. Enough to make Ilya Sutskever turn on his friend. And something about that makes me feel like there are algorithms at these companies unyet released, which could be game-changing. We simply do not have enough information. But that doesn't mean that we should take our foot off the neck. Quite the opposite. These kind of things are an opportunity, a time to take a breath, and a time to re-strategize. And as for Google's AI search results, their CEO has had to come out and say, this was pretty rubbish. And they've now had to scale back what they're doing. Removing these AI search overviews from a lot of contentious or particularly medical related stuff. And it can't be good for their share price. It can't. But I would be cautious about our interpretations here. There is still a team there at Google responsible for some groundbreaking stuff. This was an unforced error, but by no means are they out of the game. By no means does this show up AI to be a bunch of fruitless nothings. And while I appreciate it's funny as hell to meme on Google for this kind of thing, and I've shared a few of those myself, I don't think we need to take this that seriously. I think this is a sideshow, and we need to stay focused. Okay, until next time.